Motion carries 5-0. We'll bring this, send it on to the council for an ordinance. So item number 2, we had discussed the facade grant program that Worth Township was going to work with us for. And after many discussions with the attorneys and the powers that be, we as a group can't do it legally. So it has to be an item that falls under the redevelopment commission because they have the ability to have the funds and administer the funds. So it is, the council went ahead and went through and adopted the ordinance so that there can be, now it cannot be used on roofs. So some of what we had hoped to use it for, we can no longer do. We can
Could use it on a commercial
on a
roof.
but I was getting to that. So
Right.
it is commercial structures only. Really? To be legitimate with it. And yes,
Correct.
there are some communities that don't, but.
Right.
So it's commercial facades.
Correct. And it's not, it's even more complicated than that. There are grants from the Indiana Housing Community Development Authority. There used to be. I don't think they exist, but I am checking on it. That they were giving out grants 2004, 5, 6. Of course, we had a major crash in 7, 8, 9. To hand to single-family homeowners that were, it was income-based, to do siding work, window work, gutter work, roof work. We don't see that grant program existing any longer, so the only way we could do that is if we received a federal grant, it's a federal grant, and adhered to the federal guidelines and had money to pass out through that program. I'm going to tell you that with the current status of the town economically, it's going to be very hard to do.
We're not low enough income any longer.
Correct.
Correct.
We never were.
Well,
Seriously, they tried that grant back when he said it, and I think they tried it once before that, and our income is not.
for this grant,
In
correct.
2006, we were denied it because our income was too
Right.
high, because we went after it.
Very hard to do anything like that now. So, our money cannot be used for single-family homeowners. It can be used for commercial structures. It's, trust me.
This money from, that goes, that the redevelopment commission has control of, is that like from TIF funds?
So the redevelopment commission will, none of the funding will come from the redevelopment commission. The funding will come from the town council. It'll be COIT that is now designated as economic development dollars. And they have to put it in their own fund, but the redevelopment commission will be the one that is in control of the money and hands out the grants. It's not a grant. It's a low interest loan program that's forgivable after 5 years. We can't set our own grant program either. That's only something that the federal and the state government can do. Now, we could get money from, say, Okra to start a facade grant program, but given the fact that we have so few commercial structures, that's highly unlikely as well. So we've done it the right way. It's complicated. Council's heard the ordinance once, they've read it once, they'll see it again at their May meeting.
If you were to designate the general map area we just sent out to the town council as a TIF, and TIF money would come in, could that money be used for that purpose?
So it's already a TIF.
This is, Legacy Corps is already,
Legacy Court TIF was created in 2014, expanded in 2017.
so money that's coming in from that district, in theory, for that district, it could not be used to fund these grant.
If you do it the right way, no. Do communities use it that way? Yes. So Zionsville funds theirs with food and beverage tax. A lot of communities fund theirs with the edit tax. It's a lot easier because it's a edit tax rules state you can use the money for this kind of programs, one of those being economic development grant programs. We don't have food and beverage. Boone County doesn't have the edit. So take those off the table, and you have to do what we have to do with the revenue sources that we have. It is what it is. So the council will read the ordinance for the second time, and then it'll be a matter of, they'll also need to see some ordinances that appropriate the money and create the fund.
Yep.
We have, five of you will get a kick out of this. So the state legislature today issued a statement that they don't think that local municipalities such as ours need any new MVH money from the House Bill 102 revenue sources. So they think we're doing just fine. As a matter of fact, current HB 102 as coming out of the Senate reduces our MVH from what it is this year, because we have too much money in our coffers. Well, we have $1.21 million of cash reserves in the MVH. Put that into perspective, it cost about $1 million to build curb and guttered 50 feet of right-of-way curb and guttered road at a half-mile stretch. Okay? We have 73 road miles within the town limits. You can do the math there. Why do I bring this up? The DLGF is going to be looking hard at all the cash reserves that municipalities have, and we have some cash reserves built up. We're in a really good position. So I think the council taking $100,000, if you think about all the facades we have, that's 10 commercial facades with a $10,000 match. Do we even have that? Belmar, Legion, Mitch's building, the Comlux, the old roller rink. What am I missing? Maybe the post office. The churches don't apply.
LA Cafe,
LA Cafe, that person.
LA Cycle.
I mean, there you go.
Yeah, there's not much.
$100,000 would probably take care of it pretty quickly. So that's where we are with the facade grant program.
So basically, Dax, we're out of the grant program.
Until the grant program's created, and if you have, we've talked about earlier, standards in place, the RGC can put on their application that you have to, the checkbox is you have to meet the standards. You're in a historic district, and you have to meet the standards as set forth by the Historic Preservation Commission in order to get the grant. Commercial structures are a little easier to set standards for. But if you say the LA Cafe, which was an old gas station, right? And you say that's what we're going to designate, how old was the building? 30s? 40s and 50s?
50s.
So if we say that if she comes to us, she's got to take it back to what the 40s and 50s was, the nice awning she has on there now would not be able to be put back up there. That's the issues that you're going to face by setting specific standards. So that I'm just giving you an example of what can happen.
We tried for a grant to preserve the old town hall years ago. Jim Gamble and I wrote that up, and a guy by the name of Reed grants. We tried to put it through, and we felt like they wouldn't approve it, mainly because it was soft brick. They couldn't replace it. But if we'd been on the ball when they tore the other house down, that was an exact replica to it, we could have gotten all the soft some of the original buildings in town. But it's not there anymore, it's covered up.
Okay, we have any more questions on the grant program?
So let's go on to the historic survey. So I do know that from some of our work that we've done with Okra, we have a list of some contributing structures that have been identified, and then we can start with that. Janice, I think we need to put you in front of a microphone and get you to just talk and capture a lot of stuff so that we can,
I have maps, I have old abstracts that I've copied. I've got, a lot of pictures that we took during the centennial, bicentennial. I can't pronounce it.
Sesquicentennial.
Yes, that's it. That I had Gary Brush go around, take pictures of all the businesses at that time, which some of those are defunct now, you know, they're not there anymore. I've got those, I've got some of the old, I've got the original town, piece by piece. You know, we could put the pictures together more or less and have the whole town as it was.
That would be fantastic.
Great picture.
And then I've got a lot of the, like I said, we called in landmarks back, I can't remember what year that was because my mind's kind of fuzzy.
So they did all the surveys around the year between 1994 and 2002.
It was when we got into Cities and Towns Corporation to save the town that year, and that's when we got into, we put into the program of economic development. In fact, the reason we got that was because I was sitting next to the president of the bank, and Mr. Zimmerman, that was the president of the electric company in Annapolis. He asked how Whitestown was gonna come up with $36,000. I said, we're selling candy bars. At that time, we had a red stop and go light, remember it? I said, every time everybody stops, we run out and sell candy bars. These guys started laughing, and one of them says, I can't find my silverware. When I searched, I pulled my jacket like this, and he's like, I stole the silverware. And then we got to laughing, and we got the grant paid for it.
I would almost suggest we take Janice in a car and and stop in front of these homes and buildings, and she tells the story on a microphone. I'm honest, and then, so Janetta and I finally contacted Ball State. They will send an intern group. We just have to tell them when to help us with identifying, making little plaques. This was the, John Smith home built in 1889.
Most of the houses were built in town. I said some of them were Sears houses. The law firms put some of them together, and the other one was, a lot of them was built, older houses were built by, Good.
So Kent McGinnis's house is what?
It's a law.
So it was built 1910?
Probably around
It's a
that.
stick Victorian, so
I have an old map. I've got several old maps, but I can't remember the exact dates. I made a trip down to IU and had copies of these maps made. They're old fire maps. And it shows the structure, tells if it was brick, tells if it had any iron upholsteries in it, and it also shows the outhouses out back. It's that detailed. And those are in my storage at the other house, and I finally got to where I can get in there. And I'll get those, and we can start on those, because they're a great tool to have, And we can tell by that what houses are still standing in the same place.
what do we need to do to get the intern here?
they always want a job description, so we'll write that up.
Okay,
Um,
do they want to be paid?
no, it's part of the immersion program for the Ball State Historic Preservation Commission, Department. No. So, I think what we need is a deadline. We need a deadline to shoot for, so August 1st, September 1st, end of the year. Because believe it or not, this staff has a couple items on the plate.
No, really?
Yeah.
Would his students be there during the summer?
It's hard to get student interns in the summer. The summer sessions are intense, they're all day. It's easier to get an intern in the
In
fall.
the fall?
Are they still on a trimester, or are they on a half year?
No, they're on semesters, they're on half year. And then summer session, 2 summer sessions. So they're 5 weeks each and it's pretty intense.
Well, I would think if we could have the survey done and capture that data by the end of the year,
Yeah,
that
that's-
gives us a really good start to start fresh with the next year and identifying and putting it together. And Janice, we're gonna need your help. I think we need to buy a GoPro and capture all
Mhm.
this.
It's, a lot of it's already there. I did a book, the first Pioneer Days we had. Now, that book, I worked on it to try to get it right. And I went on vacation and Lois grabbed all the papers and takes them to Goodwill without making any corrections. So there is mistakes in it, a lot of mistakes. And then there's some other books that I've done, plus like I said, I've done maps, like I got the Greenfield Trail that went through Wrightstown. I got in on some old maps, but I can't get to it. Now, you know what the Greenfield Trail is, don't you?
No,
Nobody-
huh.
He knows what the Greenfield Trail is. It went from Cincinnati, Ohio to Chicago, that was an Indian trail. And mostly it was done by animals, like buffaloes, Indian. But it started actually as Lane House, you know where that's at? And it went all the way past his house, or the Lofton House, on up to Lebanon. And then from Lebanon, it went on into Warren County.
just the railroad bed?
Almost one,
The rail
same
bed?
one that White Falls.
Close to the railroad?
I was gonna say, I bet it was follow the railroad pretty
Yeah.
So, I mean,
closely.
the railbed didn't become,
Path of least
a
resistance.
lot of railbeds were put
I-
on.
I know that Mike has been reaching out, I've been reaching out to people who have lived in town a long time to ask,
You gotta be careful of those people.
but,
No, seriously, they will tell you tales.
oh,
gotta-
absolutely will they tell tales, but I'm asking, do you have, I know Mike scours eBay, I'm on eBay, so if something comes up with Whitestown on other things, that we're trying to gather things that are out there that we don't know about, so that we can not only get a hold of that documentation, but we can also preserve it for the future.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do. I wanna know, I've got, probably 3 double file cabinets full of papers. Most of them are handwritten. And they all be gone through and put on, regular computer paper or whatever. And I started out with First Landowners before they came out with any kind of maps, and went through those families to see who owned the land, where it was sold at, who bought it, etc. I did it with the outlining of Worth Township, and then I went into Whitestown itself and started doing it. But it's just like all the additions to town, you can almost tell when those additions came in, then you can see the house. If the house is older than that, you know who's there before Wright's addition, or Floyd's addition, or whoever started the additions of it. Bill's houses, is old. Larry Brush's house is a really old house. The ones in behind him are old houses. There's another thing, Bowers. Everybody says, well, who's Bowers? Bowers was Claude Bowers. He was an ambassador, and he was very political influence in his day. And he was born and raised here in Whitestown. And we need, if you ever start library or whatever, you need to get a copy of that book.
What was his name? Lloyd? Claude.
I believe the students will come and do archiving projects as well. If there's papers that need to be put on the archival, into archival files,
Problem is reading my writing, someone's gonna get used to it.
that's okay.
I make letters backwards at times, I've got dyslexia.
So is
Ja-
that email with, contacting Ball State about,
That's what, we've already been in contact with Ball State.
and
They will
Are they
send in,
interested?
yes, they'll send interns
In the fall.
in the
the
fall.
fall?
But they gotta have a job description of what the work is.
I can't hear in this room, so I'm missing most of it.
Janice, the fire chief asked me if I could come up with any history on the fire department, and I've been here
The
10
little
years.
building that's next to what used to be the high school was the fire department building. That was our first one.
Okay.
And it was started by the Neese family after we lost a whole section of our town, which is right by LA on that way. There was a 4-section store there, and they lost it, and a lodge building that was there. So that would have been the first fire department as far as he got the engine involved at that time, and they used that little garage part as storage.
Is that building still standing?
As far as I know, it's still there.
What
Yeah.
building next to the high school?
Well, it's a rental building, or it
That
had been.
garage,
South side.
Oh, that's on the same property.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That cinder block building that's almost falling down?
yes, that's it.
Just to the south?
Wow. Okay.
But anyway, any documentation or photographs that you find about the fire department,
Okay,
they
the
would
only
like
ones
to.
that I know that were in existence that I ran across, and you gotta remember, when I was doing this back in the 70s, I was also raising young kids and had softball teams, baseball teams, what have you, and doing pioneer days. So a lot of times I'd run, somebody show me a picture, and I didn't have the funds to go get it copied. Because it cost quite a bit of money back then just to copy a picture, you didn't have your computers. The only one that I know that had any pictures of it was Alma Sorter, and it was lost when she had her house fire. That's the sad part of a lot of them. Now, I think if we come across and get what people, I've got a good contact with Toby McDaniel, for instance. I don't know whether you know him or not.
I know the name.
Well, he used to be,
Yeah.
he wrote several books, and some of them, you know, have been about his boyhood here in Whitestown. And Toby still is in contact with me. He went to school with Lois Lindley, in fact. And he lives in Springfield. He was a writer for the Springfield paper over there. And I can get a hold of Toby. He gave me some photos that he has to work with. He has a real good memory. Because he lived right, in fact, he lived where Wayne and Jill lived. That was his grandmother's house.
Before Sharon?
Yeah. Well, no, he was back. in
Oh,
the-
way back.
You gotta figure, he's probably 84 years old now, so that's when he was a child.
So when we do this historic survey, basically that's what we're gonna be doing then is
getting all
designating
this,
the contributing
you know,
houses
that and
and businesses.
I mean, and part of it is, I know it's not historic preservation of the houses, but let's get this documentation and preserve our history. I mean, get the copies made.
That's why I said, I'm at the point now that if Whitestown's not gonna do something, I'm gonna give it all either to Lebanon or Zionsville.
Well, they'll just toss
They
it.
have a lot of stuff of mine already at Zionsville. He went over to try to find it, they couldn't find it, but I think I can
Yeah.
figure out where it's at.
We,
The
I mean,
whole box full of stuff.
we have been, you know, we did our very best when we moved from the original structure that had also been the fire station to box up and get those things. And we have been hound dogs about making sure that we still have them as we move from here to there. Many of them are in Dax's office for safekeeping until we can get to,
Wasn't in the fire station, a lot of stuff was in Whitestown. Police department.
yes, and we went through and
I've
got,
never found my mannequin, for instance.
you know, we went through and got those items as well, because we made sure people understood that that was important to us to get. So, I know Mike has gotten some additional sweaters and things like that, and we continue to try to pull that together. So if you know of things and,
I've got some other things. Like I said, I took them to Zionsville because Zionsville is climate controlled, plus it has
You're talking about the hut, you're talking about the
Months.
old plates that
Sullivan Mundt Center?
the plates were made back, I think they were probably 40s or 50s. They, of all the churches in town. And I have every one of them. Plus Ralph Stark gave me 2 plates that he had designed for the Boone County. It's got the frog on it. I don't know whether you've ever seen one or not. In fact, the park, Lions Club Park was originally the Stark Park.
This, what, Starkey Park?
Stark.
Start.
belonged to his family, they lived in the cornfield house. But of course, they didn't build that house, but they lived there. And they were habituated by a bad chimney. But they had horse races, harness races at that park at one time.
Oh, I could see that.
And then later, his dad used to go go-kart racing over there, big go-kart racing over there.
Basil Bertner used to
Basil
take us
Bertner.
over there.
I've heard some tales of that. And they also played baseball there, the men. Whitestown baseball team was well noted in the whole county of how he could, we had one baseball pitcher here that they tried to get at Wabash College, offered him a full scholarship. And he says, well, hey, can the whole team go? And they said, no. He said, well, I don't want to go there by myself. Turned down the scholarship.
Well, Janice, I so appreciate you coming and being willing to share this information with us so that we can get going on it. I know that as the town looks at, looks at changes and as we're looking at additional structures and things that we have to do for the town, that is going to be something I'm going to keep in mind, is that we be able to store some of this documentation in a climate-controlled, safe area that we protect it moving forward too. And because I'm a history major, I love this stuff, and,
Whitestown had, in the 1880s, one of the best general stores in the whole county. A lot of people don't know that. That was the old Nine.
so,
Well, you told me that Mr. Allen has my wife's great-grandfather's doctor bag in his.
That's correct.
window.
I told him where it was at, and he went and got it.
He
Well,
went and
and-
got it?
I have reached out to him as well to talk about, is there
He
any,
has some other pictures there. I think he might have
S-
some presentation.
So maybe we need to set a date to bring Janice in, talk about these in depth, as we're going through the process of doing
Yeah.
the survey.
absolutely.
So, and now, and as far as archiving things, Sullivan, we're lucky to have Sullivan Months. Costs a lot of money to do that. But I think we can look at doing something here as well, so.
The stuff that's over at the museum, some old school books, one of the first school newspapers, and things like that that I have as supposedly on loan, and anybody that's a member of the town board, the alumni association, and churches are allowed to go get that and bring it back to this place. So that's what he went over to try to get, and they said they couldn't find it.
Candace Ulmer was in there, and she said she didn't know what I was talking about when I asked for it.
It's probably in their index cards, they just go and look at it. But it's a big plastic tub full of stuff. And then I have at home the original lead thing that was used on the Whitestown Dispatch newspaper. That I bought at an auction. I also have several copies of the newspaper.
Okay, Janice, we're gonna be calling you a lot.
Some of those newspapers, I've always thought they could take the newspaper itself and put it on a board and sell it. I mean, I think it would sell Whitestown Dispatch.
So,
Get them reproduced.
Okay.
well, we're gonna do that then, and we can also use those interns, capture some of this stuff before working on it through the end of the year. And if we need to go a little bit further than we can to document more of the personal histories that can be achieved through some of our wiser members of our community. And so, thank you, Janice, thank you for coming. Under D, new business, was there anything else?
No, I think we need to, I'll send you a link again to the Secretary of the Interior standards, although it's confusing. Before May, we just need to determine what direction you want to go.
Well, could we as a group agree that we'll Dax will send us the link and we'll get in there and look at it and kind of start talking about what we like, what we don't like, and then be prepared in May to talk more about it with where do we want to go, with each of our ideas of where we want to go. And it can be, well, I don't want to go this way, I don't want to go this way, but at least we have a start. So if you'll send us a link, that's our job.
I will. You can't get to sleep one night, just click that link.
Just click that link. Is it kind of like Walden Pond?
Uh-huh.
Ooh, I like that. David Thoreau.
That was my fall asleep no matter what book.
That's one I
So-
like.
Okay, well then,
What is the date of our May meeting?
Should be the night.
That's what I thought. Okay, I want to get that on my calendar. It was the second Tuesday, right? Okay. Mine.
and I'm really excited that, Moontown Brewery will be preserving that.